live up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders.
What up? What up? What up? And welcome into Pregaming here on Sports Money, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. This is where we put it all together. We've been grinding on the card all day. Now it's time to look at the cash flow, the line splits, trends, angles, any other assessment and analysis, and then we put it all together, put up some winning tickets, and continue to build our bankrolls. Going to be a fun Thursday night. We have Thursday night football. Prime time football. We've got a college football game. We've got an NFL game. We've got 2 NBA games and a smattering of NHL games across the board. So this is it. Fun spot. Thursday's connected to Friday. And then we're on our way to the weekend. So it's a lot of fun right now. Going to be a great evening, I believe, here with the sports card. I'm fired up for what we have in front of us. We will recap. We will give some plays. We will see what plays you guys are on. And then we'll take a little break. Get about 30, 40 minutes break. And then we circle back. We fire up some cocktails. And we enjoy some Thursday night football. The Los Angeles Chargers will host the Minnesota Vikings. And we got plays. We got action across the sports landscape tonight. So we've got some player props. We've got some sides. We've got some totals. I don't think we've got a parlay tonight. I don't think there's any player prop parlays tonight, but that's okay. We'll have a same game parlay for the NFL game. So you know that's the deal here. We cashed last Thursday, 17-1. Just missed out. It was a 7-1, but we just missed out by 1.5 yards on, or actually, I guess we technically missed by a yard. Technically, I guess. A yard kept us from cashing plus 700 on Monday night's football game between the Seattle Seahawks and the Houston Texans. And a game that went over. Will this game go over tonight is the big question. You guys know the deal. Make sure you check into the community tab. Check out that post tab. It's not called the community tab anymore. It's called the post tab. Shame on me. And weigh in. Let us hear your thoughts on what this game's going to look like. We've got polls up. Things are happening. Things are popping across the sports world today. And I'm fired up to get into this card. I saw a note. Patchy Mix. Patchy Mix won a fight in 2024 by split decision. And they overturned it. Gave him a loss because he failed a drug test. I'm wondering how that happened. What, did they go back and test the sample 1.5 years later? Is that what happened, that Patchy Mix took the L? Because if you took the L, you don't get a W now. And they sure enough yanked his championship or that fight away from him. So I thought that was interesting. I thought it was a little ridiculous. I guess maybe they test samples down the road. I guess that makes sense as like a double backup situation, I guess. I don't know. I'm not in the drug testing business. Frankly, as long as it's not hard drugs, fire away. But anyhow, I put a poll out there as well. I said, which game's going to make the main screen tonight? Option 1, Thursday Night Football. Vikings versus the Chargers. Option 2, the NHL. I put the Whalers versus the Nordiques. If you don't know why I put the Whalers versus the Nordiques, make sure you tune into the Colorado Avalanche game tonight. Those jerseys are throwbacks and a half. Of course, we know Carolina Hurricanes moved. They relocated from the Hartford Whalers to the Carolina Hurricanes. And so they're going to be wearing their throwback retro jerseys, the Hartford Whalers jerseys tonight. Of course, we know the Quebec Nordiques moved to the Colorado Avs. And they'll be throwing on their Quebec Nordique jerseys tonight. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I thought that was a clever little way to say it. If you know the sports world, you know the sports world. College football. This is the Elimination Bowl. It's literally the elimination game for a college football bowl game. One of these teams will move to 7 losses and will make them bowl ineligible between South Alabama and Georgia State. And then do the NBA in there. And I said, looking for the fix. How can you not talk about that big news today? Holy cow. Man, first of all, there's so much to dig into with this. First of all, are you surprised that load management became something that they could manipulate? No, not at all. And surprise, surprise, they were using it. I heard somebody they were calling LeBron. They're calling Brown, trying to find out if he was going to be in the games and or not, and then give that betting information out to move millions of dollars. Then they fixed poker games. I'm not a poker fan. I've said it before, and respect anybody that is, but anytime I've played poker, for the most part, it's been just guys that really don't know what they're doing, and they just get, like bachelor parties, right? Everyone's sitting around playing poker, or you go to a football game where you're watching a prime game with your buddies, and what are they doing? They're just splashing the pot. They're just trying to buy it. They don't have shit for a hand, and they just keep dropping all. Now you got to call, or you got to wait for them to lose all their money, but they keep getting the ante, and so they're not leaving the table. It just frustrates me. For that game, frustrates me. But it was fixed. They fixed that son of a bitch too. Holy cow. Now, we know Tim Donahue, right? We all know the story of Timmy D. That's why the NBA came up with their transparency report. If you recall, after the game, they said basically it was what the refs got right and what the refs got wrong. It was clarification of the ref fouls because the NBA lost trust. They lost trust in the National Basketball Association. So their idea was to be transparent and come up with why the calls were made. And if they were wrong, the repercussion that the NBA referees, the officials, would have in this thing. Now, fast forward, 20 years later? Maybe, give or take? And these guys are on the take. I mean, unders and player props. If you're a player, you should be able to play the overs, but not the unders. That's a dick move anyways. So, interesting as that worked out. I was very uninspired and not surprised. And then I started laughing, and I was thinking, everybody loves betting the NBA. I'm even kind of becoming a fan of betting the NBA. But man, fixed fucking sports. I don't know why everybody likes the NBA so much. I don't. I like college basketball. I think that game's better than the NBA itself. But we're only 2 days into the season, so I'm not going to rag on the NBA. This is my not surprised face when it came to they're fixing the NBA. And it goes back to what I said. These fucking games are fixed. They're scripted. As long as we're on the right side, though, that's all that matters. And I'm content with that. So I was just surprised. And some of the names, man, I mean, shoot. That's a big deal. Coaches, players. Kind of not surprised, though. I mean, yeah, if you fall behind in gambling, they give you an option to fix it and make it up, then yeah, I guess you're going to do it. Chauncey Billups, Terry Rozier, Damon Jones. There go those careers. La Cosa Nostra. Thought the mob didn't exist. They were fixed. They were in on the fix. Oh, man, what a crazy fucking day that was. The Hornets, the Blazers, the Lakers, and the Raptors. Some useless teams in that mix. But they were getting them in on the fix. So I was blown away to some of the player names, like especially to hear. I mean, these are name players. These are guys we know. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I was reading one of the affidavits, and he said the mob robbed a guy at gunpoint so they could get the rigged shuffling machine. That's why those fucking automatic shufflers are just no good for anybody. I try not to play blackjack at those ones because it's just not, I can't count cards, but I think I can keep track of what's coming around. And when you get those automatic shufflers, I don't know what the hell's going on. They stick a stack in there like this. They're like, stick them back in. And I don't know what happened. All I know is seems like it's harder and harder to catch the edge. So just accusations. But man, the FBI came locking him down. And Cash Patel. They called it Operation Nothing But Net. Impressive. Nothing but net. Wow. What a world we live in. That being said, the world we live in was a little bit of a loser last night there. We dunked about a unit back on the day. Had some nice cashers. Probably went a little too far. Got a little too excited about the NBA for opening night. Yeah, the Cavs got busted up, right? 119, 111. There wasn't even that close a game. They were down and out. Karl Anthony Towns coming back into that game. That turned out to be the big deal. Now, we did cash the maxi threes. You know, I meant to tell you guys when I said I had a ladder play, it was the maxi threes, and he went out there and cooked last night. So, sadly, I didn't get to put those out there for you guys. But, hey, we cashed his chalky over 2.5 threes. See, the problem when you get a guy like Josh Hart, so some of you guys were like, oh, Josh Hart's out. Just redo the parlay like this. The money's already out there. There's no withdraw option. I mean, not on DraftKings anyways. FanDuel maybe allows you to do that, but DraftKings wants to tax your ass 20%, 15% to cash out. That bet happened to be placed over there, so there wasn't me going back in and playing somebody else. It just was a matter of what it was. Now, the big news of the night. The Sixers smashed. Sixers smashed. How about that against them Boston Celtics? I gave you guys the first half in that Sixers game. Also gave you the Embiid double-double, which did not happen. So that was a fun game. Fun game to see him come back. Now, again, that first half cashed. Good stuff. But again, Cavs lost, so the Mitchell over threes didn't matter. He only had 2, not the over 3.5. But what else? What else? We, talked about the Toronto-Memphis parlay. I talked about the Embiid. I talked about the first half. Clippers got busted up by the Utah Jazz. The worst team in basketball. Surprised. And then the Sacramento Kings under did not cash for us. They got 236 points on a 230. Them little Chili Peppers, New Mexico State did not get it done. They lost by 7. But we did easily cash the over. And that it looked like it was going to cash in the first half. But the Delaware Middle 10 game goes over. Best way to play that, I heard a bunch of people like, here's where people get too cute sometimes. Oh, I'm just going to take the team total. I think all the team totals lost. If you took the under on Middle 10, you lost. If you took the over on Delaware, you lost. If you took Delaware, you lost. But we took the over 55.5 and we cashed. And now we're back to the NHL. The ice is treating us nice. We got the under 6 was a push in the Buffalo-Detroit game. Buffalo comes away with the W. Montreal beats up Calgary 2-1. There was only a 3-game card, so we ended up going 1-0-1 in the NHL last night. So, hey, not our finest day, but certainly because we're flat bettors. We're not chasers. We're not 10-unit bettors. We're not smashing something arbitrarily because we think it looks really nice. We're still in the hunt, and we're up on the week. So that's all you can ask for. And I hope you guys feel the same way because that's what we're here to do. We got to be transparent. We got to manage the bankroll. And last but not least, we got to treat each other with a high level of respect. And we have zero tolerance for within any of those. So, hey, let's have a night though. Let's get out there. If you guys haven't done it yet, smash that thumbs up button. That's how we grow this community. It only takes you a second. It helps us out a ton. And you can find it by closing the chat. Hit that thumbs up and then pop the chat back open and we'll get back to business. How about that? How'd that be for everybody? I hope that works out for you. Okay. Just sneaking a peek at something here. These teams tonight, this NFL teams tonight, they got intersecting zeros. We got intersecting zeros. But neither team's covering the spread. It's the intersecting zeros. Like one's in an 0-9 spot, the other's in an 0-7 spot. Makes me laugh. What did I end up? Oh, you know what I didn't do? My bad. Well, we'll have to fight through it. Well, let me see. It'll take me a second. Whoops. I didn't get the banners in there. Can you believe it? Slacking. I'm slipping. Sliding away. Let me get this in really quick. Well, we get to it. You guys know the deal. Aforementioned deal. Get your best bets in the chat. Let's talk about what you guys are on for the evening. I will share what I'm on for the evening, and we will see if we can't turn this into a profitable evening. All right. All right. All righty. Not quite. Okay. That one's done. That one's done. That one's done. Oh, shit. Oh, shoot. Whoops. Sorry, everybody. Very compelling show right now, isn't it? All right. I think we got enough in there. Let's talk about some games. Let's get to the action. I've got action for you guys in the Red Wings and Islanders game, the Flyers and the Senators game, the Kings and the Dallas Stars game. Dallas Stars looking to fire back. And then we will close out the hockey card with action north of the border in Montreal versus Edmonton, a battle of Canadian squads. Then we will move in and talk about both NBA games. We will talk about a college football, the only college football game, the Island game for college football. I think we have a little angle to work with on that one. And we'll bring her home with Thursday night football. Let's get those plays in the chat. Let's talk about what you guys are on. I told you, this is my favorite part of the show. I like to see what's going on here. My plays are already made. I want to see your plays. And we got you over kicking us off with an over. And the Flyers and Senators game. He says 5.5 juicy, or you can take the 6 at even money. 5.5 is juicy. I was trying to process that for a second. I was having slow-mo situation there. I was trying to process that. Like, wait a minute. No, I get it. Jover likes the over. And he likes the over in his Minnesota Vikings LA Chargers game. Jover's overs, and he's got his Vikings tonight. Ramon's Chargers tonight. Gary Frank's in the house. What up, Gary? Hope you're doing well, my friend. Nicholas Handy. Peter Grassi is here. David's checking in, says Delaware over 55.5 cash. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Stop Geoengineering's in the house. The Futon Bets. Tyson Forster. First goal, also using this on his DK Icebreaker promo pick. Let's get this cash, baby. Oh, you know what just made me think of something? When you said that, I appreciate you saying that. I was thinking I got to get my picks in for the NFL contest this week. Damn, I almost forgot that. That would have sucked. The Futon Bets likes Pritchard. Oh, he says Pritchard let us down, but we still ready. Jay Main's guy says, what up? There's Keith. Each every stride says, let's get after it tonight and get that cash. Keith's going to be around with us tonight. There's my book Camp in the house. He says, evening, everyone. Let's have a good night. Sandy's rocking. Says Pete Rosier. Jerry Davis says, J-Main, thanks for the easy cash on Vucevic. Points and rebounds. David Wall says, what up? Talk to Bo Jackson says, how about them Raptors? Wrong team was favored. Went right down into Atlanta and took care of business. Bo Jackson says, had a great night last night. Made over $1,300. Woo! Big night for Bo Jackson. Gary Frank says, man, I got really lucky on my Grizzlies. Thank God. Yeah, they came back at the end there, huh? That was a big one. Bo Jackson says, would have made more if it wasn't for the Cavs. Yeah. Yeah, I looked back last night when it was over and I was like, I made some bucks. I made a couple bucks despite it being kind of a negative day, but it was just live betting that kind of pulled it through for me. So I was happy to get there. A couple of player props. What are you going to do? Dirty Reg's in the house. Has anybody got anything on the South Alabama versus Georgia State game? I do. The Degenerate special. Bo Jackson says Raptors and Bulls cashed for your boy. Gary likes the Bruins tonight. Bo says Vikings can upset tonight. Jerry Davis says he's on Aaron Jones 23.5 yards. And Jones over 30 plus. Over 30. Bo Jackson says, I wonder if the Panthers under's a thing tonight. They're playing the Pens. You know it is. You know it is. I had a bonus play. You know. What day of the week is it? It's a Thursday. They're blessing us with a Florida Panthers game on a Thursday. Yeah. And for no other reason, then we're just going to keep riding the train. It's low. It is low. So, we do have to be aware. It's a small number around the house, but these bets around the house, well, I guess you can get some big numbers. Let me take a look at what the current action looks like there. It's in the realm. The wheelhouse and realm was what I was trying to say right there. That's what happened when I tongue-tied myself. Let's see what else is going on in the chat. Lots of hockey plays. I like that. Let's go. Let's see. Whoa, you guys are fired up, man. Let's go. Jover says, Flyer Senators 7 straight over 5.5. FYI. Head-to-head. Says Jover. Flyer Senators. Big thing for that. That's a big game. Not just because I'm a Flyers fan, but I'd prefer they keep losing and get better draft picks. But that's where my fandom is at. That said, though, a lot of bad blood between these two teams. Playoff contentions on the line last year. Claude Giroux, former Philadelphia Flyer, now an Ottawa Senator. The problem for that Senators team in that game is Brady Tkachuk's out with a hand injury. And that's a pretty potent piece of their offense. Pretty potent piece. There's a triple alliteration for everybody. Jerry Davis says, Bo, good job. I tailed Raptors points. Should have played Moneyline. Dale Fick says, Clippers need to be added to the shit list. They were on the shit list last year, weren't they? Didn't they? I feel like I thought about that after the game. I was like, man, I feel like these guys spent some time on the old poop list. And then they went on a hell of a streak, and I still kept them on the list. It was I just remember, I feel like that's what happened last year. Hartenstein, under 24.5 points, rebounds, and assists for Nicholas Andy. Jerry Davis says, apparently Edmonton have not covered puck line in 10 straight against the Atlantic Division. It's a tricky game tonight. That'll be a tricky one. Nicholas Andy says Winnipeg and over 5.5, same game parlay. Irish King says Dallas money line and over 5.5 for same game parlay. Nicholas Andy says Vikings and under. And Jordan Mason rushing yards ladder. It's going to climb the ladder, baby. Peter Grassi says Cash Detroit, Buffalo under 6.5. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate that. Peter, 4-2, got a little sweaty. Really not. It was pretty low rate from the start, wasn't it? J Main says, Jerry, no doubt, bro. Who's be cooking versus Detroit? Pascal Siakam from M. the Great. He says over 31.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Some great props from you guys. It's prop season. Point shaving prop season. J Main says that Nicholas, I'm iffy on the damn under because the Vikes are 3-0 to the over. There's Dana Dell. Siakam over 4 assists. J Main. Joker. He says 30 plus, just take it, don't think about it. Points. Yeah, that's what I figured you were talking about. I didn't think you were talking rebounds, Jamie. Let's go. Jerry Davis says, I think if you like Indiana, then all of Siakam overs are in play. J Man says, yeah, Spicy P. 20 plus, 4 of his last 5 in the chip. And the Great's got Ben Mathurin over 18.5 points. J Main likes Keenan Allen Mason anytime touchdown parlay. Jordan, yeah, I think I got you. Oh, I'm processing very slowly today. Stop Dio says, thoughts about the Pats -1 and the Chiefs -6.5. 6-point -125 teaser. I don't like to tease down. I like to tease up. But that does look good, doesn't it? No, you're good, Jamie. 30 assists. He says he's moving. Me too, man. Well, I'm not moving very fast, but I was thinking very fast. I don't know. I'm trying to process that NFL parlay. I got to take a look at it. I got to take a deeper dive. You guys know the deal. New NFL show popping off this Sunday, 11 a.m. 11 a.m. We're going to go through every game on the card. We're going to talk about plays, talk about trends. We're going to talk about line movement. We're going to, you name it, we're going to put it all together, put one-stop shop from some of the best in the business to talk the NFL. I happen to be 7-1 of my last 8. Let's fight the yawn there. Jesus, wake up. Get to it. Kansas City's playing the Commanders. I don't know. I wouldn't tease down. I would tease up. I would take the Commanders with 17.5 or 18.5. But the Chiefs are healthy. There's no question about it. They're all back. They're all ready to go. J-Man says, let's tease up. I think they're going north of 50. All right. Let's get to work. Let's fire through these plays. Let's get you guys on your way. There is a 6:45 hockey game tonight. I don't have any action here for you guys with it, though. If I was going to give you any lean, I would tell you that the Chicago Blackhawks made the sharp, respected, better report. Go. Wrong button. Wrong bootin'. Detroit Red Wings and the New York Islanders are going to pop off to open our betting card here tonight. I don't know about the sharp, respected betting report, by the way, so far with hockey. It was pretty money for baseball, wasn't it? We were cashing and cashing and cashing. Cashing in bunches. So far, so last year for hockey, the sharp, let me see. Last year for hockey, it looks like the sharp, respected betting report went 120 and 93. Pretty sure. I'll have to double check it, but I'm pretty sure that's how it finished. So far this year, because you have to have some integrity in this damn thing, right? What are we doing this for if we're not going to talk about whether we're up or we're down? Right now it's down 4.3 units, 16, 12. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, see, I think this is a different one. The sharp respected betting report is minus 4.37 units here so far in hockey on the sides. It's even money on the totals. Okay. All right. Anyhow, sharp respected betting action coming in on the Chicago Blackhawks. I think it's because it's the number. Should the Tampa Bay Lightning be minus 300? Probably not. Probably not. No team should be, right? And then on top of that, Chicago's been playing teams tough. They went down to Florida to open the season. They lost by 1 goal. So I get it. It's not, I don't hate not putting a buck on it. JR Swish says, does anyone have public money info for the NBA? I do, and I will share it with you guys. JR Swish, good to see you. New commenter in the chat. All right, so listen, hockey-wise, we'll fire through these. We'll get to the rest of the sports, and we'll get you guys rolling here. Spencer Knight, by the way, is the goaltender for that Chicago Blackhawks team. Home favorites in the NHL have been popping. We'll talk a little bit about that here, too. It's like 3 in a row. Yikes. All right. David Red Light Rittich will be the NHL goalkeeper for the New York Islanders, and Cam Talbot will be back in net for the Red Wings. Talbot's been playing great, and the Red Wings are on a 5-game win streak. Not surprised. We talked about it. This team had way too much unachieved, unrealized potential last year, and they only added. Didn't really take away. And Talbot's got a 1.78 goals against average. Sub 2 is phenomenal, just so we're all on the same page. That being said, the Islanders have a 3-game win streak on their own. Red Light Rittich, somehow, he's got a 2.0 goals against average. 5 games without him, they allowed 4 goals per game. He comes in, he lets 2 in, 31 of 32 saves against the Edmonton Oilers. So I talked to that when we bet the Islanders. Guy had tons of big game experience against them Edmonton Oilers when he played for the Los Angeles Kings. This one's tricky, no doubt about it. I shouldn't say the old, but the best trend potentially going in hockey, besides Besides a couple years ago when you played the Sharks and they were playing on the same night as Vegas Golden Knights, or you faded the Sharks, right? That was a great one. Besides the Thursday night Florida Panthers unders, which we're on, under 6. NHL favorites with more rest are 363 and 177. That's 9-1 in its last 10 spots. Big number, a lot of sample, drilling it into the last 10 games. I like that because we look at trends in 3 components, right? We try to look at them like league-wide. That's NHL favorites. That's league-wide, right? Then we look at team-specific. Florida Panthers on a Thursday, the unders, right? Then sometimes we get players. Like, for example, playing on the Colorado Avalanche when Cale Makar gets over 2.5 shots on goal the previous game. If he gets 3+, you play on. You play on them, fellas. So that's kind of the way we look at those 3. But also home favorites. Home favorites are also 9-1 in their last 10 in the NHL. So yeah, we'll take the Islanders. We'll just take the home squad here. They started off a little sluggish, but they should certainly be finding themselves battling in the Eastern Conference to be relevant, I think. Let's go. Jay Main says, saw some football. Vital. Rushing attempts, Addison yards. Getson yards. Stop Yosa's NBA wise on props. The books were way off on a good amount of lines. BJ Edgecombe, 12+ points, was a joke. MPJ from Nugs to Nets, more of an on-ball handler. His 2+ assists was a joke. I had his rebounds. He fucked me on those. That was a joke. He's not rebounding anymore. Now that he's over here, that was still at 6.5. What do you end up with? 4. Stop Joseph's Embiid points line was like 24.5 or something nuts. He looks like an absolute shell of himself. I said the other day, I'd get rid of that fucking guy. I like him, and he's my guy, and he's on my team, but I just get rid of him. Like, dude, you got 2 options in my book. You're part of the solution, or you're part of the problem. He doesn't seem like he's part of the solution, so that leaves option 2. You're part of the problem. You can go. Bye-bye. Thanks for your service. That said, Vidal and Chargers cost me big cash because he couldn't get 30 yards on a 51-yard line. Sancho says Mammoth money line, Canadians money line, Nuggets money line for Sancho. Dirty Reg says I think Curry under 4.5 threes tonight. Could be sharp. I just don't think he's make him. He'll make 5 of them. David says Warriors money. I think that game's got a shit ton of scoring to it. That's my thoughts on that game. Well, it's not my only thoughts on that game. And I didn't play a total on that game. Just so we're on the same page. Game. Well, you guys know the deal with the Flyers under. Or Florida under, right? And I'm going to take the Flyers. I'm going to roll. I'm going to take a shot with these boys here tonight. Why? Because of the Kachuk factor. That's a key player. That's a star player. Linus Ullmark will be on the other side. Damn right, Leanus. Damn right, Slimanus. And Dan Vladar will start for the Philadelphia Flyers. So we talked about this. Linus Ullmark comes in from the Boston Bruins. He was the backup. And he's playing like a backup with a 3.8 goals against average on this game. 85.4% save percentage. And they're allowing 33 goals through 7 games as the bottom of the league. Bad defense. That, on the other side of things, you got to look at the Flyers. They're going to go to Dan Vladar. 1.74 goals against average. Sub 2. Pretty phenomenal. But pump the brakes because, we got Sammy Ersson is unfortunately probably going to be our primary go-to. But either way, this guy's starting out strong, starting out hot. 3-1 on the season. On top of that, collecting wins. I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop. Flyers ruined goaltenders. I'm hoping that's not the case anymore, but it just seems like it. And so you got a team in the Senators that are league's worst scoring. We talked about that. League worst scoring, right? They're also getting outshot or outscored 33-22. So you can't win games if you get outscored. I'm going to take a shot with the Philadelphia Flyers here at a great plus 135 price line here. Look, it's early in the season. I've said it before. Flyers are too stupid to know that they should be losing, and yet they're going to keep finding a way to punch them all together. And be like Thanksgiving and they'll be sitting atop the Eastern Conference. We're just waiting for the inevitable. We're Flyers fans. We're realists. We're not dummies. We got other sports to root for. And Joel Embiid's not one of them. So that's why I'll take game number 2. We'll roll on to game number 3. This is an interesting one because you have 2 big playoff powerhouses fighting for the right here in this one in Dallas at home. Kind of this, both these teams. I told you before, start the season, my assessment on the Kings was they're fucked. They're fundamentally flawed. Much like I talked about the Seattle Mariners being fundamentally flawed. This team thought they were going to do great. They were lucky to have one of those best home records last year. Lucky. And they made no changes to it. Now, they worked for it. I'll give it to them. But that shit's an anomaly, man. Like, teams are like 65% at home, right? Maybe 70%. Not damn near 95% or whatever the number was. And so to sit back and think like, hey, we did such a great job, we're not going to do it, I'd be panicking. Like, what are we going to do? Because if this year gets off the rails, we're fucked. But they didn't. And they just beat the St. Louis Blues. So it's a bad team. Lost like 5 straight games. They lost to Winnipeg. They lost to Minnesota. They lost to Pittsburgh. They played some good teams. But they just found a dub. And the Stars, on the other hand, have lost 3 straight. Stars started out hot. They had that big matchup against Colorado. I almost think they got a little tired from that. I mean, you can't measure it. I know it's early in the season to be talking about guys being tired, but I just think like the emotional drain of having to play big teams. And then you go back out there. They were $2.50, $2.30 favorite against the Columbus Blue Jackets. They got busted up. They lost 5-3 to Vancouver. They lost 3-1 to St. Louis. They lost 5-1. I think we got these 2 teams that are just kind of going in different directions right now. Early in the season to say that, and I'm not indicting them. I'm not saying they can't fix it and turn the car around. But turn the bus around, turn the car around. I don't know. But get out of the way of the bus because you don't want to get thrown underneath that Dallas Stars bus. That was the second leg of that parlay we had yesterday, or is it 2 days ago? Washington and Dallas. And Dallas got roasted. We were also on the under. We had the under in that game because Dallas isn't scoring. So with respect to the Dallas Stars, we'll take the Los Angeles Kings in this game. Plus 120. Another plus money price tag as we keep her moving. Last game on the NHL card. Last game in the NHL card for me. We'll be live betting. It's the benefit of capping them all, right? When you sit there and we start live betting, you can start looking at them going, okay, we're going to fire on this. We're going to fire on that. We'll have probably touched most of these games by the time the night is done. I also put a parlay together of all the games. I like doing that though. I'm a degenerate, right? I say 10 games on the card. I'm going to have a 10-leg parlay, but it's not going to be for much, right? It's not like I'm not putting $250 on it saying, holy shit, I'll make $200,000 if it cashes. Okay. Joey DeCord starts for the Seattle Kraken. Did I mess this up? Oh, I think I did mess this up. Whoops. I might as well give you guys another one. I'll give you one of my winnable plays. Since we're here, since we're all friends. Let me find it. And there it is. It's an even money price tag. I started talking about the game. I can't stop. Can't help myself. What are you going to do? We're going to take the under 5.5 in the Seattle Kraken game. Seattle, road trip, tired. Winnipeg, home, unders. Goaltending wise, the breakup, when you look at these 2 teams, we see Vejmelka. Nope, wrong team. Sorry. I think he used to play there. It's Joey DeCord, their guy, and it's Connor Hellebuck, their guy. Mono a mono. Joey DeCord starting off the season a little sluggish, a little slow with an 88.9% save percentage. Jets are firing. 5 straight wins. Hellebuck started off the season slow. That's probably the way I would say it for him as well. So both these guys kind of putting themselves in slow positions. However, there are some intersecting zeros for this game. The Jets are 9-0 under when they're home versus a team that's got a little rest if they're off a road trip. So, look, the average in that spot's 4.3 goals a game. Seattle 6-0 to the under. Conference opponents that average 3.3 goals a game or more. They come and they show up. 4.2 goals allowed, or 4.2 goals on average in those games. And the Jets are 8-0 to the under. Favorite bigger than a minus 190. So a big expected blowout. Their defense shows up if they're on a 3 or greater win streak. So that qualifies. Checks the box. Averaging 3.2 goals per game. It's 5.5 for a reason, and we're going to take the under. It's going to be an even money under for us. Nicholas Henry says Decord's probable. Yeah, I showed him as likely, but unconfirmed. So it doesn't matter to me. It's a team. Those are two team specific. I like it, obviously, with Decord in there. I would imagine if he's not in there, it'll move to a 6, but it looked like he was the first guy off the ice, and that's usually the way they go. Nicholas Henry says, why would they wait this long to announce unless? It's just hockey. You know, it's just hockey. It's not like pitching, like they only go one every 5 days. No, these guys will play 3-4 games in a row. You'll hear me say at one point in the season, this is his 15th straight start, and they're knocking the tread off the tires. That's not the case here, though. I think that's just hockey. I don't think there's anything to read behind it. We'll see. We'll see what happens when he gets out there and gets on the start. All right, here's a battle of shit teams. Oops, I skipped one. Oops. Get my shit together. Pull it together. Okay. I was typing and I was kicking the show off at the same time. Okay. I got the under 6 in the Edmonton game. Battle of mediocrity. I don't know. I shouldn't say that. A lot of people like the Montreal Canadiens. I think we're going to find ourselves in a position to fade them. You know, early in the season, they took big sharp better came in there. Well, I don't know about sharp better, but a big better came in there and dropped a bomb on them to win the Stanley Cup. Montreal. Maybe a little overreaction to how they finished last year, but they do have Sam Montembeault, their go-to guy in net. Calvin Pickard will be in on the other side, not Skinner, but he's got a 2.52 goals against average. So look, these two guys back and forth. Thing that they've got going for Edmonton is that they're not scoring goals. I should say from an under perspective, the thing they've got going for them, they're averaging 2.57 goals a game. And it's only 7 games. Connor McDavid finally found the goal. And they're just juggling lines around, trying to figure it out. On the other side of things, you got Montembeault. That's the guy that's their go-to. That's their killer between the pipes. And he stinks to start the season off. So they brought in Dubes last year, at the end of last year, and I think he hears the footsteps. I think he knows the writing's on the wall. So I expect a big performance. And by the way, you're going into Edmonton, who's been in the Stanley Cup Finals back-to-back seasons. You got to know you're bringing your best game to the table for these guys, and that's the reason I'm looking at these two teams. We know 6.5s in Canada go over. Remember, MMA Jeff talked to us about that last year. Canadian teams play each other, they go over, and then we fact-checked it. 6.5s, they go way over. 6s, a lot of unders or pushes. And 2 Canadian teams playing each other. So bear that in mind. Would I spell it wrong again? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? It's a D, not a G. Come on. Get it together. Okay. Onward, upward. Let's talk about this game. I told you guys this South Alabama, Georgia State is truly a battle for playoff or for, I guess, postseason. It's weird to say postseason for me in college bowl games. But that's what it is. Now, in the rest of the sports, I do look at the cash flow splits. Not so high on it, and I might glance at it throughout the day in hockey, but it's not a leading indicator type of betting process for me when it comes to the NHL. Trends, repetition, history repeats itself. Now, history also repeats itself for me when it comes to South Alabama because they stink. It just so happens. So does Georgia State. 46% of the bets are coming in on Georgia State. 67% of the cash. Line has not moved. No movement. In fact, it's juicing the other side. Yeah, I mean, it's still basically a pick 'em, but it's worth noting. And so what's worth noting here is the potential uncertainty. If you listen to the pregame coaching pep talk, or not coaching pep talk, but the pregame conversation, the interview with the coach, talk about, it's hockey, not announce your goaltender until a couple hours before the game itself, because the goaltender is kind of a unique solo position. It's not a solo position. You're fucking quarterback. And that's the situation that they've got going on right now when it comes to Georgia State. Are they going to play Cameron Brown or not? And even if they don't, or even if they do, does he stay? They got a bad defense. They're allowing 41.5 points a game. That is absolutely bottom of the till. There's 136 teams in college football. Their points allowed is 136. They're giving up 451 yards. That's 129th. And 130th in defensive passing yards allowed. So it's a bad team. South Alabama's a bad team. You don't get a 1-6 record without being a bad team. This is the one of who stinks less, right? 5th-year senior Kentrell Bullock will throw the rock around. He'll chuck the rock. 31st in rushing yards per game for this team as well. So if there is a process to this game, it's that they are two-dimensional on the South Alabama side of things, and they're playing the worst defense in college football. South Alabama's been here before. Not here per se, not in the literal sense of here and that they're the worst team in the conference, but here as far as they've been in bowl games, they've had experience. The thing about the bowl games and why it's so important is because they get an extra couple of weeks to practice. Instead of having to be done practicing by Thanksgiving, they get that extra 4 or 5 weeks of practice to instill their culture, develop, and go deeper into their playbooks. And I do think that's relevant, especially when you're playing a piece of shit school like Georgia State. Their offense stinks too. So we'll see. They can pass the ball. I guess that's the one piece that does kind of concern me. They've got a junior, as I mentioned, in Cameron Brown. So we'll see. We'll see if he gets out there and gives it a go or not. But even if he does, they're obviously not happy with him. They got 3 guys. You got 3 quarterbacks. It's like the Cleveland Browns. You got 3 quarterbacks. You got none. And that's the situation I think that Georgia State finds themselves in. So I took South Alabama. I laid the 6.5 with South Alabama. I don't love it. I don't love the 6. I don't love that I have to lay 6.5, but I did it. I wish it was 6 without the hook, but what do they say in Grumpy Old Men? You can wish in one hand and crap in the other. See which one fills up first. All right. Yeah, Bo Jackson says sometimes if a goalie gets peppered, they'll pull him. Change the whole dynamic of a game. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, if you're the team and the goalie keeps getting goals scored on him, you're like, shit, man, again? Come on, dude. Play it up. Start to get it together. Anyhow, let's move on. I've got 2 games for you guys here in the NBA. That's all that the schedule afforded us. But I got 2 plays in game number 1. Game numero uno. I think the wrong team's favorite. Started off just by saying that. I think if the Pacers cover, they win. And I don't mean they win the cover. Obviously they win the cover. But I don't think you should be afraid to sprinkle a couple dollars on that money line. Because it does have value. Value is defined by at plus 250. I think they can win this game outright. OKC Thunder opened up at 7.5. They haven't moved. And look, double overtime game. I don't care if it is the second game of the season. That's got to make you a little tired. We used to talk about fading the team on the back end. Now, maybe in the first half you play on them, but not for me. This is a big matchup. This is a big rebound opportunity. Obviously what they did last year in playoffs out there. And Nembhard is the guy, scored 16 and 23 points in the regular season against the OKC Thunder. And they set his line at 12.5. It's moved to 13.5. So we'll check that box. You guys talked about Siakam. I think that's a great look. He's going to be all over the fucking ball tonight. Because they're going to be, this is where Nembhard opens up. When you cover Siakam, that opens up Nembhard. So maybe I don't know about a ladder, but I wouldn't be afraid to take a 20 plus little sprinkle on this guy. Maybe that's why the NBA is so much fun. There's so many different ways to bet these bozos, and they've got their own certain positions, right? If you're a pass guy, you're a pass guy, and let's take a look at his assists. Anyhow, yeah, roster changes for the Pacers, but look, it's early in the season. It's hard to get too excited about anything. Other than I think 7.5 points is too many, and we saw last night the Utah Jazz can win. Why can't the OKC Thunder lose? They were losing that game to the Rockets right up until 1.2 seconds left in the game, and then it goes to overtime. So I think they're vulnerable. I think they're capable of getting busted up again here. They were lucky to get that win. They played too much basketball to kick the season off out there, and now you got a big game with the season opener, by the way, for the Indiana Pacers. Get ready, boys. Shit's getting real. That's what I think they're saying right now in the locker room. So we'll take the Pacers, and we'll take Nembhard. And I wouldn't be, let me just tell you what a 20 plus looks like if you're going to sprinkle on Nembhard's points. It's just put it in the ether. Let's put that in the ether. Show a little fun. As I look it up, let's see. Let's see. Nembhard. 15 is plus 120. 18 plus is plus 243. And there's 20 plus 388. He is only averaging 10 points. I actually liked his double-double today. For some reason, I had that look in my eye that I was going to play a double-double. Might be this guy. But the problem is his rebounds and assist number is 10.5. So even assuming he gets the double in the points, right? Because we're looking at the points being covered. Is he going to get 10 assists? I don't know. That just seems like a lot. Andrew G. You know what? It's an interesting thought. I'll tell you, he was announced out for a while, though. They did say like 2 weeks ago he was going to miss the first game for some load management. Huh. Bo Jackson says Chauncey Billups and LeBron be betting together. My buddy in Vegas was telling me about it. You think LeBron? I don't think LeBron's betting on games, though. You know what's funny? Did you guys see? I put a tweet out there today. Somebody put it out there, and I commented on it. And I talked about this the other night, and everyone was like, oh, here he goes again. Guess what? They showed this is how the NBA used to handle betting allegations. And they showed Jordan playing baseball for the Chicago White Sox. I told you guys. Go dig it up. Go look at the rabbit hole. Weird. I ended up seeing a special on TV about how his pops got killed too. Weird story. Sounded like a hit. Sounds like Jordan didn't want to shave some points. I'm not sure. I don't think he had some big gambling debt. Sancho says the NBA is more rigged than the NHL. Yeah. Sad. You know what I wonder? Here's a hot take on the fly. Is it because these kids aren't as educated when they're coming into the NBA and they're just looking for the quick buck? And so, I would imagine your point shaving because you're a bad gambler and you lost enough that you're now behind the 8 ball and you owe the bookies and they're like, hey, we'll make it even if you just go out there and, fake an injury and we'll play your point total unders. You do it a couple of times and we'll call it even. Okay. But like in the NFL, they don't take those kids out of college. They got to, or out of high school, right? They've got to develop so they can become men. It takes time for those muscles and things to be able to compete with the guys that are 35 years old. So they end up with at least 3 years of a 4-year education. There is no quick buck. I don't know. Dales. Yeah, I know. Go look at my timeline. I thought it was funny. All right. Where are we on to? Denver and the OKC Thunder. Oh, there it is. Wait a minute. Okay. Nuggets open the season 0-0. Golden State having a big win yesterday against the Lakers. Second day of a back-to-back. Can be a dicey situation. Golden State's been dominant at home since they busted open the new building. Should be a good game, right? There's no question about it. Nuggets, Warriors, playoff teams, probably, championship pedigree between both of these teams. And historically, the Nuggets have beaten the shit out of Golden State. They won 9 of the last 10 games against them. You got a second leg of a back-to-back. We saw Steph Curry was not heating up the other day. I don't know if he was saving it. Maybe he was saving it. Didn't look like he was saving it. Looked like he was trying. He just couldn't get it. He doesn't have mid-season Steph form at this point. So I think this game goes back and forth. That's why the line's sitting there at 1.5 for this one. And I do think we see a shitload of points. Because it's the second leg of the back-to-back, it's defensive optional. And I think Denver coming in to open the season against a team in Golden State that already picked up the win. Golden State's probably not going to give their 1-2 punch in this one, but it is early. It's different. It's different to be, when I say it's in the NHL, like day 2, it's foolish to be talking about the second leg of a back-to-back. The big difference is you got 4 lines in hockey. In the NBA, you got dudes, and then you got a couple of backups, right? So they're pretty much on the court 65% or greater of the time. It's a little bit different than a 1.5 minute. Like when hockey, we used to look at like 60-second shifts, 90-second shifts tops. 90 seconds was a long shift. Think about that. 60 seconds. What the hell can you accomplish in 60 seconds? A lot. A whole lot. Shit's so fast, it's banging, 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 banging. And then you get off the fucking ice. But in the NBA, you're sitting out there for, all but 2-3 minutes of a quarter. I like that you guys are, I didn't even think about it, connecting LeBron to the gambling thing there, but I just have a hard time believing LeBron would risk his legacy to, bet on a game? Maybe he's playing some of those fixed poker games. Maybe that's what was going on. I don't know. I don't like poker. I don't have a problem with anybody that does, but it's just not my thing, baby. All right, I got 2 plays for you guys here in the Thursday night football game, and then we will put the bow on the show and shut it up. The big storyline now being Carson Wentz has never lost a Thursday night game. He's 3-0 straight up. I told you guys a couple weeks ago, the points don't matter in the NFL. So there's no need to buy a hook. And if you're teasing, I tease up. Can't hurt to have more points. The line opened at 3. It's ping-ponged around. It's cat slapped around between 3 and 3.5. 56% of the bets, 64% of the cash on the Vikings. As of late, it came back to 3. So, gots to know that. This is tricky because the Chargers have been getting the absolute dog shit kicked out of them. They've been getting boat raced. Now, I got to tell you, the problem I have with the Chargers is they're soft. They've been fucking historically soft. It goes back to Phillip Rivers' day. Phillip Rivers never met a baby he can't make. But besides that, what's he got, 100 kids? Besides that, I think actually one time, didn't they laugh and said he was trying to create a whole team? He could have had a whole offensive team. You imagine what Christmas cost at that household. Anyways, Jesus, they're always hurt. Everyone's always hurt. The whole fucking team's always hurt. Keenan Allen especially. He's the leader of the softies. And so now you got a Vikings team that's got players coming back. And that's a problem. Now, there are players coming back for the Chargers too, but look, yeah, I know this because I drafted him or I picked him up with a free agent move. Haskins stinks, out with the hammy. Najee Harris stinks, out with the Achilles. Omarion Hampton, running back, stinks, out with an ankle. You got no running game. How are you going to lay 3 points with no running game? So when you see the 3, the old school thinking used to be if they're -3, they're basically saying it's a pick 'em. But they're home, so we'll give them 3 points. The home field gets the 3-point advantage. Now, some people can argue now and say, well, it's really now 2. I don't know. I'm still going to use the old for illustrative purposes in this conversation with this game. It's even. Well, if it's even and you got a team in the Vikings that can put points on the board, And I mean, Carson Wentz, as much as I think he's a bitch, it's not his fault that he got drafted by the Eagles in the number 2 spot and came out of the FCS. And JJ McCarthy, right? I'm pretty sure it's going to be Carson Wentz for this one. So, yeah, that's how I looked at this game and said, well, if it's a pick 'em, oh, by the way, Arson Jones is coming back for the Minnesota Vikings. I call him Arson Jones because he lights the fucking world on fire. Everything he touches lights up. Jalen Naylor, even him as a wide receiver, he should have a game and a half. I just think there's too much depth. There's too much consistency in the offense for the Minnesota Vikings versus this Los Angeles Chargers team. So for me, it's a play for. I really like the Vikings. Problem I have with these two teams is they're leading the league in getting sacked, and sacks kill drives. And for that reason, I think this game actually does start low. Minnesota's been sacked 23 fucking times this year. Doesn't matter if it's Carson Wentz or JJ McCarthy. 23 times is almost 4 sacks a game. And the Chargers, Herbert's been sacked 21 times. So that creates long fields. Longfellow Deeds. Long fields and, just bad situation all around, right? You can't move the ball if you can't get third and 27. So I looked at this one and said, these two teams have tremendous first half under totals written all over them this season. I got the under. It's 20 typing it as I told you, I forgot to put this in 22.5. But I also took a touchdown prop because I like the looks. I like the targets. I like the repetition against a team in this here. Justin Herbert. I'm sorry, not Justin Herbert. Justin Jefferson. Last year, he played LA twice in his career. And he's shown nothing but significance every time he's done it. 7 catches on 13 targets for 150 yards and a touchdown. 9 catches on 11 targets for 143 yards. Justin Jefferson should be across the board in your lineups here tonight if you're playing DFS. And maybe he's your MVP guy because I could see him rocking in a 2+ as well. So I took some Justin Jefferson. I like that first half to go under in this game. And that's the way we're going to put the bow on the show, everybody. Thank you guys all for coming and checking it out tonight. Brandon the Great says Jefferson and Addison about to go off. Markel says someone may get sacrificed in the Brown family. Brown in a maid's uniform. What was that all about? Google that one. That's what they say they do. They make you get incriminating public shaming information. And then you're allowed in. Then you're allowed into the club. JR Swish says, yeah, they have him at 27.5. I could see that. Skunk Blaster, just in time with the scumbag play of the day. It's in. He's here. It's the Vikings money line and the Chargers team total under 24. I think that's a great look. Points don't matter. And so in this case, I could see the Vikings winning this game outright. I'll tell you what, they're either going to win the game outright or they're going to get busted up. And I'd rather see them going out there busting up. So we'll take a slow start in this game. We'll take a 22.5 under. We'll take Justin Jefferson. Good luck with all of your bets, you guys. And we'll see you at 7:45. We're going to go live, 7:45. The best damn live stream in the business, Razor Sharp Picks, Sports Money. Until then, good luck with your